Let me try that one more time. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very special guest joining us tonight for our team call. We have Helene Angeles, one of my favorite humans here, going to be just sharing some great inspiration with us. And I just wanted to share her bio with you, if you don't mind, because she's done amazing things in her life, and we are very lucky to have her speaking to us. So Helene Angeles is a lifetime partner with Calypso, former vice president of customer business development with Procter and Gamble. This is the time, right, when we didn't see any female corporate executives, right, Helene?
No,
yeah,
there were no women when I started, or
no,
less than 3%. Yeah.
So you're a bit of a trailblazer here. She led high-performing, diverse global teams totaling over $3.5 billion in sales. She has chaired the Lead Advisory Board, an organization she co-founded in 2011. And Lead currently has over 15,000 members in Europe, has 12 country chapters, and has over 50 corporate partners. There's more. Helene has co-authored a white paper on collaborative innovation, harnessing her 35-year expertise in the CPG and retail industry. And as a founder and past president of the Network of Executive Women, Helene was a new officer for over 9 years. She led new explosive growth to over 73 companies, over 3,500 members and 17 regions. Helene's vision and leadership of new Network of Executive Women enabled the value-added national programming, sponsor growth, and regional expansion. This includes the creation of the annual summit, multicultural initiative, and the Executive Leader Forum. And in 2007, she championed the publication of The New Women Rules, a groundbreaking book, which highlights over 50 senior female executives offering their mentoring wisdom. I love this. As a principal of Calypso, a professional service firm dedicated to bringing innovation to life, Helene has helped many Fortune 50 companies in their innovation, diversity, and inclusion efforts. Helene has also mentored many women over the years to achieve their high potential. Helene is a graduate of Barnard College, Columbia University, and Helene is married to Michael and has 2 grown children, Mariel and Zach, and grandson Teddy. And again, she's just, anytime I see her, she's just brightens my day. So thank you so much for joining us, Helene. I'm gonna give you the floor.
Wow. Well, thanks, Dr. Hannah. And for those of you who have had the pleasure of working with Dr. Hannah, I have for 8 years, I say, sometimes I go in and I'm like Humpty Dumpty and she puts me back together again, always. So it is a real delight to be able to, work with you, Dr. Hannah, and these great women. That's a lot there. I guess I've been around quite a few years, a few decades. And since we're sort of a smaller group, I would love to make this really interactive. I'm going to share with you some of the things that have helped me. We titled this talk, fall down 7 times, get up 8, which is a Japanese proverb. And I think it's really appropriate for the times that we're living in. Even though I had all these challenges early in my career, I would say things are a lot more complicated now. You have many more challenges. And so I would love to make whatever I say, interactive. So with that, can I get either a raise of hands? How many of you have a partner or spouse? Okay, I can't see all of you, vast majority of you. How many of you are obviously working, you're your own entrepreneurs in this business, and then your partner has a business? Yes? Okay, most. How many of you have the challenge of either child rearing or elderly parents, or maybe both? And how many of you struggle as it relates to finding time for yourself to try to like keep all the balls in the air? Okay, so I think we sort of all have a lot in common. And how many of you feel that this last couple of years has been particularly challenging, figuring out how to, pay the bills, educate the kids, support the parents in a time when, we couldn't, in many cases, leave the house? Okay, so with that, I'd like to share with you some of sort of my personal insights. I used to give this talk all over the world, actually, from China to Japan to something similar. And I always say, statistically speaking, I shouldn't be here, right? The chances of me getting a job in this big corporation almost 45 years ago was pretty amazing, since they were only going to hire men. And I convinced them, I signed up on an all-male interview schedule to talk to me, a woman, to try to say, hey, maybe you're not thinking about this correctly. Maybe you need to hire some women as opposed to men. And, my story was, I went across the street to Columbia because they were recruiting men and not women. I was determined to get this job. And I was educating myself through college, working 3 jobs, and really needed to get a career, and convince them that they should take a chance on me. So that kind of tells you a little bit about me and the importance of asking the why not questions. So when you're thinking about your life and what you want to do, I always say, well, why not? Why not hire a woman? Why not create your own business empire, or whatever you want to do? And think about things from an expansive standpoint. So the why not thing is really important to me. The second, so my stories, starts, at least my career story starts with calling on grocery stores where most of the managers never even wanted to deal with a woman, and trying to sell Procter and Gamble products. Many of them wouldn't deal with me, and I'd say, okay, then you're not going to get any soap or cleaning products or paper towels if you don't talk to me. And so there was a lot of rejection. In fact, in the early days where I had to make 10 calls per day, I would say half of them would say, I'm not talking to you because I only deal with men. So I really had to persevere. I had to think about how I could not only show up, but show up better, and be more productive and with better sales results than any of the men, just to be considered an equal. And I'm sure many of you probably have had that experience in life, as women, and many of you I see are women of color. It's particularly triply hard, because you have to do your very best and then hope that somehow that's considered equal. So one of the things, I was very lucky. I met my future husband, and he's also a patient of Dr. Hannes. We'll be married 39 years. I met him when I transferred to Cincinnati, and I always say, you knew what you were getting into. We were peers, and I used to go into his office and shut the door, and I would complain and he would listen. So, 40 years later, I complain, he listens. And so that was really important, to pick the right partner in life. And early on in our marriage, we thought, I happened to be able to move up the corporate ladder, but I was totally terrified, because I got this big job, the first woman associate director in the history of the company. And I got pregnant, and no one had ever gotten pregnant. There was no maternity leave policy. And everybody said, oh, now that you have this job, you don't have to work. You don't have to come back. I said, are you kidding? I worked so hard to get it. I'm coming back. So I really felt like there was a lot of weight on my shoulders. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way as it relates to trying to balance work and family. So one of the things we did almost 33 years ago was I wrote a personal mission statement. And I would say this is one of the things that I would encourage you to think about. You might say, well, why is that important? Why is a mission statement important? Well, it helps you think about what are your life goals. You raised your hand earlier. Many of you, have partners or moms or daughters. So we have, it's not just the work part, but it's the family part. And there's key roles and responsibilities you have as it relates to your business. Each of you are running a business, and as it relates to the doTERRA community, and you might want to participate in community projects. So, okay, how do you really reconcile and figure all that out? And as I said, I was totally terrified. I had no role models. There were no women. I didn't have anybody to ask. So I said, all right, I'm going to write kind of a vision of what it is I would like in my life. And my husband, Mike Friedman, did the same thing. And we compared notes and we made some personal goals. So here's my little scratches, 33 years later of my personal mission statement. January, it's almost 33 years old, January 90. And in there, I set some pretty, it took me like 6 months to write this thing, but I'll share with you. I live a full, rich, and balanced life. I am a source of strength, love, and inspiration to my family, friends, and associates. I lead cultural change by developing and empowering others. I role model successfully combining a challenging career, a happy marriage, and a loving family. I am at peace with myself and my choices in life. I balance my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual growth. And by living this, I make a difference in the lives of others. Now, that still kind of resonates with me because, in the early years, it was about infants and little kids, and then they got to be teenagers, and the problems got even more challenging. And then they got in their 20s and marriage, and now divorce with my daughter. And my mom got sick, and my dad got sick. So kind of like, how do you navigate life's choices? And afterwards, I can give you some resources if Dr. Hannah, if any of you are interested on how to do that. And by sort of developing this mission, it really helped me kind of have my true north. Okay, what's really important to me and how can I live my life fully? Which is not to say there were not many, many challenges. And in many cases, many a sleepless night trying to balance one and the other. So personal mission statement is really important. Getting clear about what's important, investing the time in for yourself, which you can do, steal away a few minutes every day to write some thoughts down. And if you don't do it, no one will do it. So I think it's, sort of taking ownership for that. So let me pause. And as I said, I'll make this pretty, do we have till the top of the hour, right, Dr. Hannah? 7? Let me pause and say, any questions as it relates to that or any comments? Does any of that resonate for you ladies? Take yourself off mute. Yes, no? Any questions? By the way, I love pole dancing, the one down there. That's a good one. Anyway, okay, so let me keep going. So the mission statement was really important. The other thing that helped me was kind of having a mental model of what I'll call leadership. And again, this is based on some of the Covey materials. There are people that you meet that, everything is always someone else's fault, right? This was done to me. I can't do this because someone, didn't give me the opportunity, or I'm blocked, or I don't have the education, or I don't have the resources, versus people who think about life as, okay, there's challenges, but then there's opportunities to overcome them. So I like to call that leadership model, and I stole this from Stephen Covey a long time ago, called being at cause versus being at effect. Well, that means, that you say to yourself, okay, if it's to be, it's up to me. And I know as you're running your own businesses, that's really important, right? If you're going to drive sales and you're going to be successful, it really is about personal initiative. So I'm sure most of you already have that aspect, but it becomes really critical and, decision points in your life, like, okay, um, how am I going to figure out my business plan? And at the same time, my spouse might be relocating or whatever. And then how do I manage the business? And how do you be at cause versus have things happen to you? So I like to think about, and again, when I was managing big organizations, big people, problems happen every day, all day long. So being at cause means identifying a problem, but importantly, coming up with a solution. So being, action-oriented, solution-oriented, I think is another one of my key learnings as it relates to success in life. And again, we talked about, I call it the 5 E's, right? You envision what is it that you want and ask the why not question. You engage others. So you can have a vision of what you want. You engage others because it's good to have a vision, but you need to be able to talk about it. Okay, here's how I see my doTERRA business in 3 years. Okay, here's what I want to achieve. Engaging others, how can I develop my partners and others in the community to get there? Leveraging across organizations, across people, and engaging. So that's the second E. The third E is enabling. You got to enable yourself and others through education, through leadership, through talking to folks, to reaching out, to be able to actually get to your vision. Enabling. And then energizing. I mean, that's like, showing up. And when you show up, be positive. Life is 90% showing up. You have to show up to make things happen. And then finally, the old execute. If you promise, you got to deliver, and you need to execute with excellence. So that's kind of the leadership model for me, or what I call the 5 E's. Envision, engage, enable, energize, and execute with excellence. And another thing as it relates to, personal and business professional success is the honesty piece. I have been in so many situations in the business world where I would come home to my husband and say, I'm going to get fired. I said something today, or I did something that was true that nobody else wanted to say. I was the canary in the coal mine. Guaranteed they're going to fire me. But interestingly enough, they never did. And I think many times we know things aren't right, whether it's in our families or in our organizations or in our community, but we don't want to step up and just say, this is what's happening, and tell the truth. So I would always tell folks who work with me, good news should travel, but bad news should travel faster, and you need to tell me what's going on. I happened to run in my career one of the largest retailers that went bankrupt. How many of you know Kmart? Okay, so I was in charge of Kmart. That was like $1.5 billion. And we were their second largest supplier. And I knew that they were going to go bankrupt because guess what? I think the CEO was not honest. And I would meet with him and I don't know, he would perspire. I'm like, why are you perspiring? I mean, he always said the right things. He looked good, but I knew he was going to he was not a good guy. And I dealt with him very honestly with our CEO. And when they went bankrupt, Procter and Gamble did not lose a dime. People were like, oh my God, how did you figure that out? Well, being honest, using the 5 E's with the organization, finding out, connecting the dots, enabled us to be able to never have any negative impact. And in fact, we ended up, once they went out of bankruptcy, selling them again. So be honest, tell it like it is. Bad news should travel fast, and really work with everybody. Another one of my leadership things is around diversity and inclusion. And I was very lucky. My first 8 years, I lived in 3 different countries. And in many cases, people's skin color and their religion and their language was different. So I guess I was learned early in my youth about the beauty and the value of diversity and inclusion. And I found always that the more diverse the team is, the better the business results. It's harder sometimes to deal with people because, you know, we all come from different backgrounds. But once you develop that kind of high performing team, and hopefully you folks have it within your organization here, you end up getting much better business results. So walking in someone else's shoes, really trying to be empathized and understand was really important for me in terms of getting both the business and the personal results. And I'm pleased to say that one of the first women, African-American women who worked for me over 20 years ago, now runs like $30 billion at Procter and Gamble. Monica Turner's head of all of North America. And I used to make her come to these conferences. She says, I'm too busy. And I'd say, you're coming, you're sitting next to me, you're going to learn, we're going to learn together. So I'm really proud of that, back to my diverse people. And then the third thing, then the piece on open environments, people should be able to say and do whatever. I mean, focus on substance versus style. The other thing that I learned in terms of overcoming adversity is the importance of seizing the day. I can't tell you how important this is. Opportunities will come up in life, business opportunities, personal opportunities, and being open, being at cause, and seizing the day as it relates to those opportunities is absolutely critical. So in my case, we wanted to live overseas. Mike got the chance to go to Venezuela. I was terrified. I said, oh my God, we're going to Venezuela. It's crime ridden. I don't know. But we went and we spent 6 years there, and the kids had a great experience, and I learned a ton, and I learned language. And it was like, most people said to me, don't go. It's too risky. It's too dangerous. And it was like a life-changing experience. So seizing the day, whether it's a business opportunity, personal opportunity, community opportunity, is really important. I do believe in laughter. I learned, I think, from my mom, who Dr. Hannah knew. She just passed away at 101. She used to always say to me, laugh to keep from crying. And I think I've probably done that more times than not, laugh to keep from crying, to try to see the world, glass half full versus glass half empty. And finally, there's no guarantees, nothing stays the same. So embracing change is critical. I'm really happy my children are now, 35 and 33 years old. And of course, now they're mentoring me. I wish I could say I was as great as technology. That's always a challenge, but learning new things. Recently, I did a whole creative thing with one of my son's friends. And I wouldn't, it was great. So embracing change, figuring out, if you've got your mission and your goals and your roles, seize the opportunity and embrace the change. Let go of the negative thoughts and doubts. And then one of the final principles for me is what I'll call synergy. Okay, what do you mean by synergy? There's only 24 hours in the day. Okay, how do you figure out how to do all the things? You can't do all the things, but the key things. So my favorite was, I wanted to spend time with my husband. I wanted to exercise, and I wanted to spend some time with our dogs. So I would walk with my husband, walk the dogs, and talk about life. So exercise, time with my husband, dogs, problem solve. Okay, do that all at once. So that's kind of like a simple but important thing, like figure out how you can synergize. When the kids were little, I didn't want to go out to dinner. I would invite business associates, and I would make my kids stay at the table and talk to adults when they were 3 years old. And then I'd tell them, okay, you talk to yourselves. I'm reading books and putting them to bed. Okay, the option was no business dinner. I would miss the kids, and so that was my way of synergizing. I don't know if it was good or was bad, but figuring out how you integrate what's important to you from a work, family, community standpoint. And finally, the principle back to, the beginning, which is knock down 7 times, get up 8. I'm a huge believer in the Winston Churchill, never, never, never give up. Okay. I don't care how many times they tell you no. If it's important to you, it's important to your family, it's important to your life, you have to figure out how to get there. Never give up on your goals, your beliefs, your principles, and the causes that are central to your life. So in this mission, I wrote, 25 years ago, under my roles, that someday I'm going to lead an effort to help women globally. I don't know how I was going to do it. Procter and Gamble, once I retired for 14 years ago, I figured out through my partner with Calypso, and we started leading executives advancing diversity with nothing, maybe 5,000 euros. I was the keynote speaker, I was the facilitator, and now we have 15,000 members, and we have, we're in 12 countries. We do all these different things. It's because in my heart, I knew the issues for women overseas were even greater than the United States, and I was bound and determined to figure out a way to do it. So never let anybody tell you that you can't do something. If it's a passion of yours, if it's what you want to accomplish, you have to just never, never give up. The constancy of purpose, the consistency, and your belief, you'll send the energy in the world, and somehow the universe will respond. So with that, we have like a half hour, and I would be happy to answer any questions, get some feedback, whatever works for any of you. Dr. Hannah, is that okay?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I took like 7 pages of notes. And
we have this little presentation. Okay, I will tell you, it's not fancy. I did it on PowerPoint, so it will not be, fancy dancy, but I'm happy to send it to you, Dr.
Oh, that would be amazing. And by the way, in our Facebook group, we have about 10 people watching on that end as well. So
okay,
you have
great.
A good crew.
So this is the book, The New Women Rules. It's kind of out of date. And these are 50 women. I picked most of them, and they each gave their story of what would be their mentoring wisdom to the next generation. And many of them became CEOs. A couple of them, unfortunately, have passed away. These stories are really great, but we gave all the money to our scholarship fund for this. So anyway, let's open it up. Any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to know more about?
You guys, this is an incredible opportunity to ask this lady who has such amazing experience.
All right, what are the things that are keeping you up at night? What are the challenges that you're facing?
I'll go first if you want.
Yes, I'm happy to.
Okay, so I love when you said synergy. That really spoke volumes to me, because it just feels like I'm running against the clock every single day with 2 kids, make sure my parents are taken care of, and I have 2 businesses that I feel incredibly fulfilled in life, but I feel like there's just never enough time.
So my thought for you, Dr. Hannah, is, well, you kind of did that last week, right? You took your son on a business trip and you traveled. That's kind of a good example. What else can you do that would connect pieces that would amplify things as opposed to negative, and And being intentional about that, I think, is a really good thing. So my son, who's now Zach, who's now 33, also speaks and does speaking tours. And he said, that's because you forced me to sit when I was 3 years old and talk to adults that I didn't know. So he never had any fear because I made him. I said, well, that's what you're going to go do. So there are benefits for that. So put your kids to work, Dr. Hannah. I don't know. Figure it out. There's ways to do that. Anybody else? Any other, we as women it all falls a lot on our shoulders. So I actually took my parents to a business conference in Venezuela. I flew them down because my husband was traveling. I said, how the hell am I going to do this? And they came with my kids, and nobody else did that. But I was like, I can't leave my kids alone. I have to run this conference. Mom and the grandkids are coming. So anyway, anybody else? What are your challenges? Monica, I see you raising your hand.
Yes,
over there. Dr.
yes.
Monica. Yes.
So I have come to realize that one of my superpowers is being incredibly supportive of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And in so doing, I know how much I feel from everybody else, how much they need. And I find it incredibly difficult to ask for support myself.
Right. So you're giving and giving and giving and then not getting.
And then also having to digest what it feels like to have just put myself in this position, right? So I don't know another way to be.
Right.
And yet I want the things that come from doing something in a different way. And I don't know how to get myself to do that. I see other people do it and I applaud them and say, wow, that's so amazing.
So do you have any self-care rituals for yourself?
Oh yes, I have a lot.
Okay.
I have learned how to do that.
Okay.
I'm a holistic chiropractor like Dr. Hannah, and I work in a wellness center. And
okay, so that part's
yeah.
handled. But what you're saying is you don't always you're giving, but you don't feel like you're receiving as when you're helping others. Is that what is that
right? So getting other people to show up in a way that's going to be something that benefits me. Right. I have a difficulty in being able to I will find out what it is that's going to benefit them and sell them on that, no problem. Right. But if it's something that I feel that I'm doing in order for me to get a benefit from it, in order that's going to serve my business purposes, somehow that's less important. And I don't know.
And women are infamously bad at this, by the way. Guys seem to figure out the tit for tat way better than we do.
It just makes me angry. I just get angry. Like, why is that so easy for you?
Could one of your strategies be that back to the intentionality? Could you actually sit and think about the people? And what is it that they're skilled at? And maybe your ask could be one or two things. And once you do that, you'll be amazed, because people do feel good about giving. Oftentimes, but you have to ask.
Yeah, it's really challenging.
But if you don't ask, you're not going to know.
Right.
I
did set up a business meeting to help me do some branding today. So I did that. It made me incredibly uncomfortable. And I know that I'm going to have homework that's going to also make me uncomfortable. But on the other hand, when I realize what's at stake, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to have a leg to stand on. Right. I'm not going to be able to continue to help all the people that I want to help. So I've got to find a way to make this happen.
Right. Right. And so it's hard, in the moment to do it, but sometimes if you step back and you write or you think about who the people are, what is it you might want from them, or ask the hypothetical, oh, I might need this, do you know anyone, without necessarily asking them, they might say, oh, I can do that, or whatever. And once you start, it's amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I see, is it Tamlin? You're writing notes. Do you have anything on your mind? Did I say your name correctly, Tamlin? Oh, you're on, get off of mute. Hit the mute button.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm unmuted now. Yes, I've been taking a lot of notes. One of the things that, God dang it, struck me was leading executives advancing diversity.
Right.
How you got involved with that and what does that look like? And obviously it's empowering others.
Right.
Like Dr. Monica, I'm one of those people that loves to help others. I love to give, I love to serve, but it's hard for me to receive.
Right.
And I'm learning how to do that. I went through a situation today and then somebody was like, you just need to say, okay, just say, thank you, take it. That's the universe, it's God. It's like your needs are being met. It doesn't have to look a certain way, especially when you don't even ask for it and it's just put in front of you.
Correct.
A lot and we don't even recognize it. But I'm really trying to be very intentional with the people that I'm doing business with. And this one's one of them.
Hi.
Dee Dee.
Hi.
And
what is your name?
Deanna or Dee.
Oh, you're Deanna. Okay.
Hi.
Yeah. So is it similar to Dr. Monica? It's the discomfort in the asking that you're feeling like if you become more adept at that, you'd be able to grow your business more, or?
No, I think I'm learning. I'm learning how to be more forward with asking for what I need, or even if that's delegating or being more specific or intentional with what I'm looking for. But then from that point, like when that person arrives, moving forward, wanting to support my business and their business and empower others. And like my children.
Like the multiplier effect is what you're saying.
Yes.
How do you get the multiplier?
Yes.
It's a skill that you can learn. So I guess one of the way my brain works is I'm always trying to make connections. It just, oh, this person would be good at that. Oh, that person would be good at that. Oh, I put the two together. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, that happens to be one of my superpowers, is the connecting.
I love doing that.
And you love doing that. So again, I do think the intentional thing is important, but once you do that, the multiplier effect, like you connect people, or you say, oh, this person needs this, what about that? You create your own network. So I did the network of executive women and then lead. That's basically it. I would go to people that I thought were phenomenal and I'd say, I need you. I need you to help me start this. Don't you think this is important? Yes, I do. I don't have the time. Yes, you do. I don't have the time. Give me 10% of your time. Blah, 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 blah. So I handpicked all of the people on the board. There was no board. We created the board. I went to all the companies and they said, no, we don't need this. I said, yes, you do. How many women do you have? Oh, we don't have any women. Well, how are you going to get them? Oh, we don't know. So, well, we can help you. So, you got to create, it's back to what I talked about, having the vision and having the mission, and then being like, just keep going. And through the multiplier and through getting people involved, and then they feel good about it, and they tell their friends, or they get people in, and then all of a sudden that becomes, the groundswell that gets you to the critical mass of what you need. But if you have those skills, that's great. It's just being, really direct about what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Obviously, you're very bold and confident when you speak to these people. And it kind of goes back to what you started with. Why not?
Well, it was the injustice that bothered me. Why weren't there women? Why are there no Black people? Why are there, the injustice is like in my heart. And like I said, even I'm in third grade, I used to, that I would tell the principal that you were wrong. You made us stand in recess in the cold. Why are you doing that? We're freezing. So I guess I always was that kind of person, but if it's within you, this is why having the mission statement is so important, because it has to be something that you feel. Then all of a sudden, it's not about being bold. It's not about like being out there. It's like you are fulfilling what you think is your purpose.
It's authentic.
It's authentic. It's real. Nobody can take it away from you. It's grounded in your own values and principles and what it is that's really important to you. So if you get that right, and then you get the skills and they do the multiplier and you convince people why it's good for them, you'll be successful. Okay, we got a few more minutes. I'm going to call on Dee because she's listening there very intently. Hi, Dee. I want to hear from you.
I think mine sometimes is just not having enough trust within myself that I can.
Okay. And and why is that, do you think? What about why don't you trust yourself?
It's sometimes thinking that I need to know all of the information,
Right.
and being questioned about things sometimes. And I have no problem going back, looking it up, but I think sometimes it's just having it right there on the spot.
Okay, so are you more of a person who likes to process things and think about things and plan them before you act kind of person?
Yes, and a lot too is I have a big problem with commitment. That's my problem too.
Okay. So you don't want to commit because what? You don't want to fail, maybe?
So, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're all scared of that. I think we all are afraid of, committing and failing. But what could you try something small that wouldn't be so consequential, so then it wouldn't be quite so scary?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like all the other ladies are saying, I can help other people. I'm helping other people. Then when it comes to me, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I could really just do that like that.
Right. Right. Well, I same advice I gave the other lady. Try it small in a situation that isn't so threatening, and then success breeds success.
Yeah, because I have people a lot of times when I'm telling them about the oils and whatnot, they're always like, you would be so good at it. And then I'm like, I don't know, would I really? But it's just stepping out doing it.
Right. Okay, that's good. Was that helpful?
Yes.
All right. Well, Dr. Hannah, I don't want to put everybody on the spot, although I will if you want me to.
I'm asking if anyone else has any questions on
Sure.
Facebook. Anyone else have any questions? Gosh, another 2 pages of notes, Helene.
Look, time is so precious. It's the evening, families, I get it. I hope it was helpful. I'm not going to tell you that I haven't had my share of sleepless nights. Dr. Hannah knows that. Sometimes life just throws you a complete loop. It isn't that, you look back on the last 45 years and everything is perfect. It's, trust me, lots of challenges in my life. But, I guess, the old adage, we were going to title this, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." But then I thought that's a little harsh, but it is true that, we sort of all have to walk through fire to sort of gain our strength. And I have in my life to a big degree. And I'm sure each of you have had your own challenges that, kind of make us who we are. So anyway, I thank you for letting me share my perspective. I wish you all only good things. And if you do, if you are interested, I can, I actually have the questions, like a worksheet on how to create a mission statement. If any of you are interested, I'd be happy to share that with Dr. Hannah. It's really helpful to go back to something that's real, that you feel is like, okay, this is really me. And when you're waffling or you're finding conflicts, that helps you get a clear path and vision on what's really important. So with that, I wish you all the best. And thanks for giving me the time.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of people that want the mission statement question.
Oh, okay, so I'm going to send it to you via email. It's not fancy schmancy, but you can actually, it's a process. And I say, take your time, to do it like a little bit at a time, because you don't just write this thing down like in 10 seconds and have it really represent your whole life. You need to, it's a process. Mm-hmm. So happy to share that, and happy to share my personal beliefs. Great.
Can you show the book that you were,
which one? The New Woman Rules?
Yes, The New Woman Rules.
So I'm very proud of this because I came up with the title, The New Network of Executive Women, but play on new rules of the game, and we rule the world. Yes. I hope it might be out of print. We did this 15 years ago. The picture of me looks really different. I have dark hair. I'm not as blonde as I am now. And I look very corporate. Which I'm not anymore. Anyway, so yeah, I think you might be able to get the used version on Amazon, The New Woman Rules by Fawn Germer, who was a speaker. And I said to her, we got to write this book. She said, you're kidding. I said, no, we're going to do this. So we did it in a year. So it was fun. Yeah, New Woman
That's
Rules.
awesome. Everyone is so grateful and thankful for you and your time, Helene. And
great.
From the bottom of all of our hearts, our collective teams, we have some goodies for you next time you come to the office. We have a gua sha kit for you. With some
great
yarrow palm and a couple of other goodies for you.
Thank you. Well, I am a devoted doTERRA user. Did I say that up front? I do my lemon and orange every morning. I take the vitamins. You know that. I've got the turmeric and all kinds of stuff. So
good girl.
I look pretty good for 100, right? No, that was my mom. I'm a little far behind. All right. Thanks, ladies. I only wish you the best. Think big, dream big, and just go make it happen.
Thank you, Helene. Again, you're amazing.
Thank you.
And one last thing, ladies, I don't know if you've heard, but we do have a buy one, get one free special that is going to happen, I believe, for the next 3 days. Buy yarrow palm, 30 ml for $98. And you get the yarrow palm capsules as well as the brightening gel for free, $84 wholesale for free. And this is limit 5 per account. And yarrow palm capsules is like the vegan version of collagen that you can take. It has an incredible amount of vitamin C. So it huge, chock full of antioxidants. It's going to be great for your skin, great for your healing properties in your body. Always want to have high levels of vitamin C. So, and then the brightening gel, of course, we know totally rocks. So share the news with your friends and family and your customers, how you can serve them. And thank you so much for being on. I really hope you enjoy this. So this was a nice special treat. Bye, everyone.